niliacha kuwatch. I don't watch BT Awards. Ask me why.
Why?
Because I got jealous.
Jealous of
Muskia tu kimnadho. Sabu manze BT Awards inakuonyeshaga this a black folk celebrating themselves, celebrating each other. Inakuwa gani? Unaona wale artist wote wamemiss out hizo awards zingine prestigious.
Yeah.
BT inakuwa gani sisi?
Sisi
majeudi na tunajicelebrate.
When a legend like Buju speaks, I think it's important to not only listen but also read between the lines. Aliongea vibaya, of course he did. You know, like the language he used was a bit excessive, because he said that Afrobeat, he trashed Afrobeat basically. And I think, you know, like that was problematic. But for people who know Buju, that is Bujunese. That's how Buju speaks. You can afford to wake up every day, build your craft and go train. But sasa Kenya, unaona, you have to have another side hustle.
Me niliacha kuwatch. I don't watch BT Awards. Ask me why.
Why?
Because I got jealous.
Jealous of
Muskia tu kimnadho. Sabu manze BT Awards inakuonyeshaga this a black folk celebrating themselves, celebrating each other. Inakuwa gani? Unaona wale artist wote wamemiss out hizo awards zingine prestigious.
Yeah.
BT inakuwa gani sisi?
Sisi
majeudi na tunajicelebrate. Mushindwa mbona wa Afrika tufanyagi? Mbona wa Kenya atujicelebrate? They just reserve a day in a year, every year, to celebrate themselves. Muona yo tunasikia uchungu. Si uchungu in a bad way. Mbona sisi atufanyagi?
Because
they celebrate themselves, and I love that. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, Mika.
Wacha ni wakati na hapa before tutoke kwa hii topic. And this has always come back to one thing, and I've said it so many times. Do we understand the business, and at this point I'll say the business of talent, like the business of creativeness, right? Kwa sababu hata vile ali tukianza hii conversation earlier on, and tukiongea story ya joka joke like mbona industry ilikufa nini. There's some industries in Kenya whereby people look at them and they see them as this and not even like blue collar industry is not a thing, and then even from blue collar industry, cottage industry in Kenya not a thing. Now we're bringing back to the creative points and aspect of it, whereby tuweke hapo ngoma wasanii, tuweke wasanii, tuweke sports people, tuweke actors in that bucket. There is a talent for that, but there is no business for that talent. Most people haven't really put an there's no investment in the business side of it.
There's no industry.
And that is why unaona tukisema like tukiangalia na jitu kuna nini, wacha ni itoe kwa sports nirudishe kwa ngoma. If we put it in music, that's why there was a time, and Nonini, correct me if I'm wrong, majority of Kenyan artists used to think when they're writing a song or producing a song, used to think more about what the corporates will think about the song than what people will think about song, what the fans will think about song. In Ngoma, the corporates are like wasanii. People are more concerned about producing music that will give them corporate gigs than producing music that you feel, producing music that you enjoy. And it got to a point whereby we lost the art of it, and I think that is where Nigerian music came in and managed to break in, because everybody now was trying to produce corporate music, and Kenyan music started sounding like it was a weird inajulikana ni ngoma gani. And recently I think these kids came back I think these kids came back na Gegeton is when you have seen our music now trying to come back to something we used to know. Ile kina nonini wakikam hiyo time kina nonini wakikuja hiyo Vini Banton nonini hiyo crew like kulikuwa na sound, unasikia sound ni sound ya Kenya as much as ina like ilikuwa inaka sound ya Kenya, inakaka sheng ngoma, inakaka unavile sheng kwa lugha mingi lakini ina make sense. but kuna ile sound yenye ukisikia genge yenye kina nini walikuwa wanacheza, alafu ende kwa hizi kina genge to na Banton sahi, kuna ile una feel hii sound inakaa ngoma. Ukisikia ngoma ya Matata unashake kichwa ukijua okay fine, hii ngoma inakaa like kuna hii ngoma ina sound pia. Ngoma za Kenya ukisikia unajua ni ngoma ya Kenya. Now that has come back because wasanii wamerudi back to ngoma ikuwe ni Kenyana feel na Kenya watu wana feel, wametoka kwa hiyo ujinga ya corporate. Now what we need to do is, do we have the business to make this sustainable for these artists? So if there were ways in which the business environment to support creatives will be nurtured and will be allowed to play. And then most artists, at the group yetu, you remember there's a conversation I was talking with somebody, nikimwambia, the first thing is, the only people who can make Kenyan music sell outside of Kenya is Kenyans. Jamaa kaniambia, yeah, you're ready, anachezanga out of Kenya, amecheza nini concert big, nikamza concert gani, akaniambia nyege. Remember, I said, okay, sawa, nimeanza kwa jina yako, nikana ajina hivyo yako. I'm not arguing about you going to Uganda. I'm just telling you a simple thing. If you guys want Kenyan music to transcend the borders, it's only Kenyans who can make Kenyan music transcend the borders.
Absolutely.
Because a white person will not look for Kenyan music. It's me who's going to expose a white person to Kenyan music.
Yeah.
True. It's simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? And you
so
know,
once that mentality, if you have an artist who can't understand a simple detail of things, thinking from a business point of view like that, how do you expect this artist, when it comes to elect for people to represent them, to elect somebody who has who has his business at heart, or rather atajifikiria tu for the point of now, for the now? If I come and tell you, mimi royalties ndo ongeza certain, nikuoneshe mimi naweza kusaidia kula better, utanivote, but hujui in the long term what my benefits are. So we have to figure out a way on from the government side and also the creative side, in a way whereby we say we want to make these industries to thrive. We want somebody like Nonini, the name Nonini, to employ 300 to 400 people at one particular time.
Yeah.
Right? If that is how we want, we need to be able to teach these 300 or 400 people how they can benefit from that name Nonini. Teach Nonini how he can be of benefit to those 300, 200 people, and allow an environment where these 300, 200 people can be able to support Nonini, and Nonini can be able to support them.
Okay, yeah. Now, you know, as we wrap up this particular topic, there was one thing that Ted Josiah once told me. Unajua Ted Josiah has lived in different parts of the world. Kuna time alienda hata akaishi Nigeria. And when Ted Josiah went to Nigeria, one thing he told me that many years later is when I was like, damn, this is something Ted Josiah told me a number of years back. Alisema, in Nigeria, the Kenyan industry was already ahead, but in what Nigeria did is they poured money. You know, unajua kama vile in Kenya someone will pour money in real estate, and wanaacha mimi nichukue real estate, 10 years from now itajipa yenyewe. So that's what happened to the music industry. So you had these talented artists. So imagine kama vile nyinyi mlikuwa artists kule Calif. Imagine sasa kama mtu angekuja aseme mimi nawapatia 50 million. Nendeni mkatafute wasanii, tengezeni hii music, you know, like, and then we'll figure out if we're gonna make money years down the line. Industry yetu ingekuwa mbali sana, but I think there's been a shyness to invest watu wote wenye wash nini, because let me tell you the reality, a lot of money that especially country kama Nigeria ilingia kwa music industry, tuseme tu kweli, it's wash money. Some of it is wash money.
419.
Yeah, you know, the same way wash goes and does real estate. I think they also need to be creative wanze kuingiza sasa in other segments, like in the music industry na movie industry in Nigeria pia. It's the biggest employer. The movie industry, it is the biggest employer in Nigeria. It's employing more people than oil is employing, yet Nigeria is one of the biggest oil producers in Africa. So that right there tells you something. Now tunataka kuja kwa hii interview controversial ya Buju Banton. Na sijui kama tuko na hiyo clip, kama hatuna ni sawa. I think kila mtu alikuwa amesikiza hii interview. Now this interview here, okay, when when a legend like Buju speaks, I think it's important to not only listen but also read between the lines. Aliongea vibaya, of course he did. The language he used was a bit excessive, because he said that Afrobeat, he trashed Afrobeat basically, and I think that was problematic. But for people who know Buju, that is Bujunese. That's how Buju speaks.
Yeah.
He doesn't know, even in interviews, he doesn't know. He's not one of these people who will clean up.
Buju is raw.
Yeah,
he doesn't know how to hold it.
He's raw.
He speaks his mind.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Na hii kitu, because Afrobeat has become so big in Nigeria, in Africa, it touched people in so many different ways. The one problem that we are living in nowadays, in this environment of flow of information, the problem is watu wengi pia wanaongea juu hiyo story hata hawajasikiza interview. Yeah. Were there bad things that Buju said? Of course. He's trashed an industry that has been feeding a lot of Africans, and that's gone worldwide. So kutakuwa na issue. So mimi nini nitaka kuja kwako nisikie tu take yako, when you first had that interview at Drink Champs, alitaja Kenya kwanza. Buju mentioned Kenya, which shows you already where the high regard in which he places Kenya, and not only Buju but people in that entire industry, because even Nori alikuwa ametaja Kenya pia before Buju ataja Kenya. So nonini, what was your what's your assessment of what Buju said? Alicheza pabaya ama some people are saying he's jealous.
No chance.
Very controversial issue. Number one, kwanza controversy naangalia body yenyu. Iko wapi ile signature nilisign up like 2 years ago? Where's my signature?
I don't even know.
Mulichuja signature yangu.
No body.
Hiyo ndio controversy number 1.
Ini body mpya Mike. Kuna watu wengi. Hiyo body nyingine iko.
Ile ni njaa.
Wamejitetea muda wamejitoa kwa hiyo ngori.
Mzee 500 episodes sio mchezo.
Only Jah can liberate the people over hills and valleys too. Buju ni legend. Artists wote wakitokea Florida back in the day walikuwa naimba, they all were trying to sing like Buju. Artist ule mimi aliingiza kwa studio, alikuwa aitwaga original MC. Alikuwa na rap kama Buju way back in the day. Mimi namuona Florida kibrap, I'm like damn. Kuna artist alikuwa aitwaga Kati Boy, rest in peace man, Wakalif, alikuwa rap kama Buju. So Buju has inspired man a generation. Buju yuko sawa. Everything Buju said, hakuna ati some things, everything Buju said you on point. That's one. Second, everything everybody is talking like kuna Nigeria ameongea mona interview yake, what's his name?
Mimi nimeona interview ya Fuse ODG, but Fuse ni Nigeria man, ni Mghanea.
Fuse pia yuko sawa.
Yeah.
Like Fuse is saying the right thing.
Yes.
Also Buju is saying the right thing. We just need to understand them from their point of view.
Yeah.
Buju kuongea mambo ya Afrobeats, like a lot of Kenyans, nimeona Kenya wengi wana discuss hiyo story, wanasema but we have a lot of songs. Bro, Kenya tuko na wasanii wa conscious sana bro. Like Buju atajulia wapi kuna Kalamashaka? Kalamashaka are not Afrobeats. Buju atajuaje kuna Juliani are not Afrobeats. Buju atajuaje kuna Eric Wainaina is not Afrobeats. So Afrobeats ile mlami alichukua kaipeleka huku kwa pedal store ya the world so basically Afrobeats ni kama kapuka. Unakumbuka muziki ya Kenya ikianza kapuka this, kapuka that. Ndio watu wakatike.
I know.
That's Afrobeats for Africa.
Yeah.
So kuna hii ngoma imepigwa high puku that imekuwa forced to represent Africa. Burna Boy himself, people are talking about him, he does not associate with Afrobeats. Burna Boy is live on interview, amekata mambo ya Afrobeats, amesema yeye imbagi hizo vitu watu wengine wanaimba. Burna Boy amejeka kwa level yake in a different pedestal where he samples Femi Kuti and everything. Yeye mwenyewe hataki kuwa tagged as an Afrobeat artist. So Buju was very right. Artists wote, they're big now, they're wako huko wanacheza hizi ma stadiums zote. Like what's their content? Fine, they're singing all this music that is commercial. All of us have been doing it. I do it. Kuna commercial music. But as an artist, what's that one song that you've ever done to like inspire your people? Not even Africa, just kwa Nigeria wenzenyu. Nigeria inasafa hata ngoma moja bro. Wewe ndio uko huku all over, you're the biggest thing. Ushaimba hata ngoma moja. Buju asemi ngoma zako zote ziko revolutionary buda. Hatuwezi taka kusikia mambo ya shida saa yote. But bro, wewe ndio sasa uko kwa world. What are you telling the world? Sawa, they're dancing. They got people's ears. You got people's ears. What are you telling them? Let me piggyback to our small country, which is Kenya, which is East Africa. When we started, tulikuwa naimba, personally Millions and Kimba, very controversial music. Same as Buju.
Yeah.
Sawa, lakini Buju alisema he had to change. He didn't change. He showed people who he was. And I resonated with that because watu niliza nini mbona ulichange style yako? And niliresonate na hiyo story because Buju aliongea the same thing musemaga kwa interviews. Siku change style yangu. I showed you who I was. What I started singing was me trying to get into the industry because people were not accepting us. Watu walikuwa hataki kusikiza muziki ya Islando. So we had to shock people. It was a strategy. So we did it. So after we did it, did we continue doing it? No. Now I have people's ears. Now can I speak? Can I ongea kama nonini mkenge true? This is me, right? So that's what he's saying. You're already there. Buddha, you have the biggest song in the world. What else are you telling people? That's all Buju said. And I love that. Hakuna maleli
but he said Afrobeat is fuckery. That's a word he used.
No.
It's the sheng yao. Ni ile sheng tu yani but usichukulie fuckery ni kama yani. Ni anasema tu pia ina need more.
But unaona hiyo ndo clip inachezwa sasa.
Ngoja kwanza Ali, ngoja kwanza. Wacha hapa pia tuseme tutumie nini. Hakusema Afrobeat is fuckery. Alisema
what are they singing?
What are you singing?
Fuckery.
What are you akauliza what are you singing? Like kama amesema Kenyan amesema aliuliza tu swali simple. Akasema what they are saying right now is fuckery. Alisema hakuna ngoma yoyote yenye mtu akusema ati Afrobeat is fuckery. Alisema wewe kama msanii uko mbele ya watu, why is it that everything that you're producing is fuckery? Akasema yeye ngoma yetu bado ni the king's music kwa sababu bado iko na message. Ni ngoma bado ukisikia utakumbuka when you fell in love, because ukiangalia kama love song akiimba love song, it's a true love song ya ukweli. Aimbe si love song ya nyashi sijui nini whatever it is, right? Kuna zile it's just for example, kuna ngoma za msanii ukisikia zitakutouch usemenye ngoma imetoka ndani, imetoka kwa roho yangu. Kenya nasema ni as in it's simple as this. You have a right to sing an album, and that album can have all the hits you want to hit, whatever you want to hit. But at least in your art, where is that activism coming in? Where are you talking about? Like when do kuna masikio za watu sahi? Ukakumbuka akaquote artist wa gani kina Alpha Blondy, akaquote what's his name? Ule wa South Africa. Ule liuliwa kidiwa simu.
Lucky Dube.
Yeah.
Sundu, Salif Keita.
Ukiangalia kila Lucky Dube, ngoma zao zote hazikuanga shida. Kuna ngoma zao zingine zilikuanga ni happy, branda kula happy. Ngoma zao zingine zilikuanga ni stories of love, zingine ni shida. So that is the only thing alikuwa anauliza, and it actually does make a point. Wewe kama like wewe uko na hiyo stage yako, where is your activism in it? Like how are you using your stage to fight for people? Asema sasa shida za Afrika si shida tunateswa, sijui tuna need slavery, independence ama nini zi. It doesn't mean economical exploitation nini. And when Nani spoke, I think Fuzo DG spoke a counter video to Buju, and the thing that he said, he showed and exposed to Buju what Afrobeat is saying and doing. Na yeye mwenyewe akakubali akasema ukweli, if you compare the number of Afrobeat music that is fuckery compared to yenye ni consciousness, is very little that somebody will not even notice it. Out notice. So the point is just that as an artist, how are you using your platform for your activism? How are you using when the eyes of the world are on you? Like, and he said it, make the money. He said make the money, but at the end of the day, usijisahau na usisahau pale umetoka. Because kuna siku itafika utaulizwa, what did you ever do when you had that chance?
And the highlight of that, he also said he's going back to dancehall. Alisema the next song is anatoa dancehall, is conscious, yes. But alisema the next thing is dancehall, a trash dancehall, and understand dancehall ni space ya watoi fulani. Ataenda but anawa challenge. Na amesema kama mnafeel pia wa Jamaica wafanyi kazi yao ni kutingisha matako. Pia nyi kama wa Afrika, call them out. Tuambie wewe wa Jamaica, mnachoma, mlikuwa watu wa conscious. Mbona siku hizi tu mnatingisha matako? He said
lakini hao pia siku hizi si wa conscious.
Wanachoma mbaya. Na anasema you can call us out because as was Jamaicans was singing about Africa. Wanaimba mamziki za kuliberate Africa. Mbona sisi hatuwaambii pia vitu wa kufanya? Sisi tunangoja watu waambie.